Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 3 of From the Ground Up. First two were really well received, so we thought we'd come back for a third.
Exactly, yeah. We thought we'd listen to what people said.
Yeah, and we got a lot on the agenda today to cover. I thought we'd start talking about kind of demand for housing and house prices generally.
I think it's had a huge impact on the market. London especially has been massively impacted. You know, especially this year, the number of houses sold in London has been massively low. And I think that's also meant a lot of land coming forward and sales has been hampered by that because house builders are a bit worried about being able to sell the homes that they're building. The land market kind of is always downstream from house sales.
Yeah, and I think we've talked quite a bit about general kind of land finding. And I think today the idea was sort of to cover that because I think, again, very relevant at the minute. LPDF and Savills have recently done a bit of an article on, and it's called The Case for Demand Support. Kind of all about that, really. And a few things they're covering there are obviously kind of large PLC house builder sales, how they're stable, more so than kind of the SME market, which is kind of taking a real dip, which, again, we have talked about a hell of a lot. But I thought we'd maybe cover talking a little bit about that, going into a bit of the detail of Help to Buy as well.
Well, that's the argument that the Savills article is making. So essentially they're looking at house sale rates and they're arguing that in order to sort of bring house sales back, you need a Help to Buy option. And the kind of key crux, I think, of the piece is that most people struggle with the deposit. So that's the big part of buying a house that is kind of the hurdle that a lot of people get over or need to get over is it's that initial deposit. Yeah. People can kind of bear, because if they rent, it's not too dissimilar from a mortgage. And that's kind of one of the interesting things we'll talk about. But the key thing is getting over that sort of initial lump sum. And so they're proposing an equity lump sum. So the government would take a percentage equity of the property that you buy. And the interesting part of that is a percentage equity, right? So if it's 20%, if your house goes up in value, then the government would get 20% of the increase in value as well. Right. And if house prices go down, then the government 20% would also be affected as well. So it's an interesting point. Lots to talk about. We can probably start with just, do we think that Help to Buy is a good idea? And maybe I think we'll probably maybe talk a bit about the pros and cons of it.
Pros and cons, yeah, definitely.
So I think the biggest piece that biggest argument that the piece makes is that alongside this, PLC market share is still growing. There's a huge amount of SMEs that are just dropping off. Potentially they're arguing in here because of the sales rates, like they just can't sell the homes they're making. Yeah. And I think we were talking a little bit about this, and we felt like this is most likely because, especially on the sort of sales side, the SMEs tend to build more expensive homes.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think the one advantage, obviously, the PLCs have is they are dealing with kind of 100 plus sites, 100 plus dwelling sites. So they have that kind of, you know, they can drive the build cost down because they are building so many houses, and that means that they can keep the kind of the sale price at a level that is more affordable than if you're an SME who needs to make a bigger return on, or they need to make a return.
I mean, there's a couple of factors. They've got economies of scale, so they can buy all the sort of house building materials in bulk, and they can buy at a lower price. But they also have better cash flow. So they can have multiple sites selling at the same time. If they're going to sort of buy a new piece of land, generally speaking, they're not relying on other sites selling in order to do that. Whilst on the SME side, often a lot of these businesses are going from site to site. So in order for one site to be delivered, they have to sell the homes in another. And this is the problem that sales rates is having on the SME side, right? The house builders can absorb a lot of that, because, you know, they've got money from elsewhere, especially if they're PLCs. They can go to banks, they can go elsewhere. Whereas a lot of the SMEs are reliant on, I've got this site in my pipeline, I've built 10 homes, I need 8 of those to sell before I can start putting money towards my next site. And so that's one of the big things. I think the interesting bit I was looking at was, you know, if you look at the pros and cons of Help to Buy, one of the biggest arguments against Help to Buy is that the government, that the PLC house builders or house builders in general will absorb the cost. So, you know, you've got a home that would sell for 400 grand, you get Help to Buy, the price is now 450. Right. And I think it's a convincing argument in the sense of, especially if you put your sort of maybe anti-capitalist hat on or whatever, but the only way to combat that, I think, is competition. It's to say, house builders might do that, but if they do, another house builder will come along and they'll put their sort of similar homes on for less, 430 grand.
I think I'd agree, and I think the argument is, do we have enough builders that are creating that competition? Because in some areas you've got, especially looking at a Barratt, you've almost got 3 different products that they can have on a site.
Exactly.
Which is all of that, the Redrow more premium, you've got the Barratt and you've got the David Wilson as well.
Yeah.
You're seeing that with a lot of the bigger house builders as well. Persimmon have got Persimmon and Charles Church. So they can really dominate an area and have very little competition, or even the competition they have is very similar.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's maybe where the SMEs are struggling, is obviously they are going after the smaller sites, but can't really compete with the prices that the PLCs have got on their sites. But I think overall, in terms of thought process on the Help to Buy, it clearly had an impact on the market when it came into place. And I think obviously more homes were being bought, and it meant that people could actually get on the ladder as well, which is a really big thing. Obviously, most people rely on parents to actually currently get on the ladder.
Yeah.
And this maybe meant that they didn't have to do that, and they could kind of get the house with their partner and kind of crack on. But I think that's probably more the positive, is actually it's stimulating a market. But is all of the money that's stimulating going straight to the PLCs?
Yeah. Which I think it will, unless you have enough competition. That's the only thing I could think. Just quickly, I pulled out a specific pro case for the Help to Buy, which is that it's like based on affordability. So a £300,000 home currently, if you're going to get a mortgage, and this is at a 95% mortgage, right, which is really pushing it, requires about a 60k a year income to buy a sort of £300,000 home. That's kind of the threshold. But if you do Help to Buy, then that drops to about a 43k per year income. So makes it, that's if you have a 20% equity loan. So it drops the threshold for how much you'd need to be earning in order to buy what you'd probably say is a reasonably priced home in today's market, 200k. Bear in mind, you're not buying that in London. There's absolutely no chance. But a kind of, maybe in Cheltenham you might be able to get something like that. And so that's kind of the maths you're dealing with. So that's the really big pro argument, is that it unlocks, people in specific jobs that maybe wouldn't be able to buy a home to be able to buy those homes. And the key unlock there from the land point of view is obviously you need homes to be sold in order for land to come forward to be bought again.
In terms of what are the other options there are, I feel like it kind of just gets bounded around that really the only option is Help to Buy. And then if we don't have Help to Buy, it's all buggered. So therefore, where are we left? Like, surely that means that house prices are too high for the normal public to get on the ladder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then the argument surely is we need more affordable housing. And it is affordable housing actually more housing? Because, it's not really affordable. People need to be able to purchase a house. The majority of people can't.
Yeah.
Therefore, we need cheaper housing.
I mean, there's an interesting byproduct of Rachel Reeves's, or not really Rachel Reeves's, the Labour Party's changes to renting. Yeah. In that if they've made renting harder and a lot of landlords are looking to sell their property, then what that does potentially mean is there's going to be a larger supply on the market. So there's a whole philosophical question on whether people should own a home or rent. And I think that's an important piece to talk about, which is when I think about renting a home, I have two categories of renting in my head. I have the home that's kind of, it's an older home. Someone's bought it, done it up and is renting it out. And you've got a landlord. And to be honest, you know what your rent is. Yeah. Then you've got the type of home. When I was looking to buy, I looked at some of these where you're buying and you've got a leasehold and you've got a service charge, if that makes sense. And that's the bit that's scary for me, because whenever you look at the service charge, I've heard so many stories of people getting a home and then the service charge company gets bought out and they go from 200 quid a month to £1,000 or something. And then also, I guess, selling the house as well at the end of the day is difficult. It's difficult, yes. Yeah. And so I kind of see those two things kind of in the same bracket. And then you've got obviously buying a house outright. Yeah. The main difference between renting and owning really is just what you can do with the house. if you rent the house, it's not yours. So there's restrictions. You can't have pets that, you can't necessarily put an extension on if you want to do it. You can't, it's not yours.
Yeah.
But if people don't have a problem with that, then potentially that is the better option.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at these numbers, as you start getting into Help to Buy, the thing about the equity is that the government are giving you an equity loan interest-free for 5 years. Yeah. After 5 years, you have to start paying interest on it.
Yeah.
On the loan. So that basically then means that you have bought your house, sort of, because you've got a mortgage, but then you've also, after 5 years, you've got interest on top of it.
Yeah.
And so then,
and then any money the price the house goes up,
yes,
the government benefit from as well. So it's not really an investment at that rate.
No, it's not investment. And then how does that compare to renting?
Yeah.
And actually you're going to look at that and go, what's the difference here between renting and buying? And there's a good chance that you might be able to rent for less than what you're paying in interest plus mortgage.
And that's probably why you see, especially like a Vistry, pivoting with what they're doing, going sort of away from the private market housing.
Yeah.
I think they've seen that, and they've probably seen the change coming down the line, which is probably more for renting and that kind of world. So it's interesting you've seen that. And then I think the other thing, obviously we always want to bring it back to what impact will this have on land generally, or what impact are we seeing on the land market generally. I think the one big thing that we've talked a lot about is obviously planning applications going through. Obviously there's been an increase in the number of planning applications going through. And obviously the more planning applications there are, if they get approved, then that means there's going to be more, theoretically, more housing on the market.
Yes.
Which will hopefully that will then impact the price of housing as well. And then if you add Help to Buy in there as well, are you going to see a decrease in house prices?
You'd hope. Yeah, I would also say the scary thing kind of about that is, especially where we are now, if house prices dramatically decrease, you're a first-time buyer, you buy, let's say at the start of this period, on 95% mortgage. If then what you're saying happens, house prices decrease dramatically, the first person, when you lose that percentage on your house, if you get a mortgage, the mortgage doesn't change based on how much your house sells for. Yeah. So a lot of people will be in negative equity, i.e. their house will be worth less than what their mortgage is.
Right.
So they would sell the house and they'd still owe money for the mortgage, right? Which historically speaking has very rarely happened because house prices have gone up so consistently. But it's one of those where you're kind of dealing with really, really tight mortgage percentages and also looking at currently where the housing market is at the moment, where especially in London, houses are selling for less than they have than they've been bought for. Personal story: I've sold my house for less than I bought it for. And a lot of the people I speak to are selling it for the same or less.
I bought a house, and then the house next door to me sold for like 70 grand under what I paid for it, which is a bit depressing. So it's a weird, I think, market at the minute. And it's like I was gonna bring this kind of segment to a close by saying, like, what do we actually think of Help to Buy, yes or no? Yeah. But I think what we've talked about is it's quite difficult to have a definitive answer.
I agree,
on whether it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I always, my default position is always you want to try and let the market be a market and not impact it too much or like sort of interfere with it too much. Yeah. The best thing you can try and do is let a market sort itself out, supply and demand and all these sorts of things. And like having an artificial, we're going to, help you get on the ladder, get over that deposit, to me is always someone putting their hand on the scale. And so by sort of its nature, I think it's never a good thing. Yeah. It doesn't signal a sort of healthy market if you have to do that. Yeah. And I do think it's also a little bit short-termy as well. I think it's thinking, how are we going to get people to be able to get on the market now, whereas what's the long-term aim for what the market should be. That's my default position. But when you look at the sort of arguments in the Savills piece, it's hard to disagree with the numbers just in terms of like being able to get into the market. Yeah. But it's worrying. Like I think, the bit that scares me most is house prices going down, which I think would be a good thing, but then the impact that would have on people who are kind of the people you're trying to help. Yeah. Get on the ladder.
Yeah. Great. So I think we're at a yes.
Yeah.
So talking kind of about planning generally, I think it's probably a good segue to start talking about kind of the Landstack updates that we've done recently. A huge amount has happened over the last 2 months kind of months since we last did the podcast.
Yeah.
And kind of things happen on Landstack every 2 weeks, really, is kind of what we aim for. Now, that's either small tweaks, big tweaks, new features. But I think things are moving at such a pace at the minute. We wanted to kind of have a bit of a moment to talk about what we've done recently. Yeah. And then we've just done one of our biggest updates. Yeah. Which I think, I kind of say that all the time, but this really is one of the big ones, which I think wanted to kind of share our screen, show a little bit about what we've done.
Exactly.
Do you want to talk a bit about maybe some of the smaller things that we've done and just rattle those kind of data pieces off just so people are aware of what new data sets we've got on? And then, I think really want to spend some time talking about the new AI kind of planning document.
Yeah. So I just counted quickly. I think there's about 8 different updates I want to talk about. So we've got big new update to our transportation data.
Yeah.
So we've added some traffic flow information, so you can click on individual roads and get an idea about what the traffic flow is along that road. That breaks it down by transportation type as well, so cars, buses, cycling, motorcycles, and so on. There's a public transportation layer that we've added, which is very useful because it shows you where bus stops are, but crucially, we spoke about it in our last one of these actually, where we talked about train station locations and finding sites that are suitable for train stations. Yeah. And so we've added where those are. We've also given people connectivity. So that's national connectivity. That gives you, and it's drilling into the data that the local government, have published, which is a sort of what we call national PTAL. We've been calling internally national PTAL. But essentially, it's just a connectivity score for a given output area. Given postcode is the kind of best way to think about it.
And I think with that data, it's really interesting in terms of how it could be used.
Yeah.
I think especially when you start looking at maybe the more rural areas.
Yes.
And understanding connectivity within maybe a rural town or something like that. You can actually see areas of a town
100%
that are more connected than others. And they rate it on a number of things like walking, driving, public transport, things like that.
You can start using it as a constraint in a lot of ways, right? Yeah. So you can look at your piece of land that you're looking at, and you can essentially look at the connectivity and see, is it constrained from a connectivity perspective?
Yeah.
And you will know that you will have, the more constrained, i.e. the less connected it is, the more potential risk or so the more impact you'll be by potentially Section 106 or something like that, where you have to improve either the connectivity from a public transport point of view or from a roads point of view, or potentially cycleways, because I know there's huge amount of push for cycleways on new developments or contribution towards cycleways on new developments. So it allows you to evaluate risk from that point of view.
What else have we got?
We've also got a new terrain layer.
Yeah.
This is LiDAR based. And so what this will do is this will show you a sort of a much more detailed idea about the topography of a site, i.e. how steep it is or which direction it faces.
And I think the interesting thing there is having the LiDAR data, obviously 1 meter accuracy.
Yeah.
Which is great compared to the OS kind of contours, 10 meters.
Yeah.
And then also, I know you've been talking about potentially doing topographical plans.
Yes. Yeah,
through
exactly.
the platform as well.
Yeah.
Which I think would be massive for
and I think
anyone.
It's one of those things that we've got a MVP internally for, works great. So potentially not very far away from the platform at all.
Yeah.
And so if anyone's listening to this and wants to get more info on that, do let us know. These are really detailed topos that you can generate. To just talk about the Landstack features for a second, what it basically does and what we've done is we've given you a specific LiDAR data set for development. And that is different degrees of slope, which we've color-coded. Yeah. So fundamentally, the map just shows you if you're in sort of an orange, yellow, or white area, you've got to be careful. Yeah. If you're not, you're safe. And we wanted to make it a really easy, quick check. So again, like a constraint, okay, I'm good here or I'm not.
Yeah. And I think if I wanted to rattle a few off the top of my head, I know title purchases. Yeah. We've obviously allowed people now to buy basically the remainder of the different documents, leases, transfers, charges, things like that. I think that was a really big update for people who don't have a LandReg account or have a LandReg account, both. And then also, obviously, some AI upgrades to the chatbot that we're constantly making. I think it's worth saying that. Like, it is moving at such a speed.
Yeah. As we are releasing data layers, those are being included into the chatbot. And that then means that you can ask questions kind of about the data layers that we're adding. And we'll probably start putting more stuff out in emails about what data is included in that.
And it is worth also, we put videos out already on things that you can ask, like, sieving through planning documents, the reasons for refusals, Section 106 costs, residual land values. There's, I think, so much value in that And I think the crucial thing I always get questioned when I do the demos is how accurate is the data, and how do we know that the AI is not going to hallucinate and come up with something gobbledygook?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think my kind of rebuttal to that always is, look, we have strictly modelled the language model, or taught the language model against the Landstack data. So it's as accurate as the Landstack data is accurate. And it's almost, from where I see it, from where I am, you've got kind of the Landstack data and the map, and you now have the AI side, which is almost 50-50 in terms of our focus internally, is very much on those two things. So yeah, I think that gives a brief summary over some of them. But I think also last week, Thursday, we launched a massive update on the planning document search. So
I'll talk a bit about that actually. So this is a massive update, both for our pro users and our light users. So the first big thing is that on every planning application, you now have the planning application documents for that planning application. Every new planning application going forward, be it major or minor in our 2 data sets, will have all the planning application documents associated to them. And you'll also notice that when you click on planning applications, we've kind of started classifying them too. So in the sort of quote unquote main documents section, we will pull out what we've considered the 3 key documents to start with: the decision, the officer report or the committee report, and the appeal decision. So that allows you to click on a planning application and really quickly get access to that key document. But we then also provide all supporting documents, which you can easily filter through by just typing in something. So if you were looking for the planning statement, you can kind of type planning statement. And there's a lot of future work that's going to happen here as well. So our ambition really is to make this as good as it can be, and to sort of classify and standardize all the planning docs. But the bigger update is then, because we've given you all those documents, you can now also keyword search through all of them. So
massive.
This allows you to set up regular planning application reports, like you could historically speaking, but also have a keyword search in them. And that allows you to set up really bespoke reports, such as 5-year housing land supply reports. So you could ask for any time a planning application goes to appeal, is submitted, and that appeal submission mentions 5-year supply, you'll get told about it. And you could do that nationally. You could do that in a specific region. You could do it in a specific local authority. And
I think the main things we've, I guess, found with this is that, firstly, huge amount of effort has gone into obviously pull all of that data into Landstack. So all of those, if you can think about how many planning applications there are, and then how many planning documents there are within each planning application.
Yeah, exactly.
It's millions of planning documents?
Oh, millions, terabytes of data.
Yeah, terabytes of data. And then I think what we realized is that obviously there is a huge amount of value within these planning documents. There are, like you said, transport assessments, you've got all of your decisions, which have a wealth of information on why those reasons were given, like 5-year supply. So I think one thing that we are looking to do is that 5-year supply on appeal kind of point, and have maybe creating a data set. So there's a load of things we could do with this.
Exactly,
But were you going to just show it?
I am
action?
on the screen, So what I've done is a quick search I've gone for planning applications that have gone to appeal, and there's in the last sort of 100 days that mention 5-year supply. And so then what you can essentially do is you can flick through each of these planning applications, and if you wanted to, again, you could restrict this by decision if you wanted to. In this case, I haven't. And then what you will see on the right side is the individual planning application, and then also the match document. And so what I can essentially do is keep looking through, and it will show me the document that the keyword has matched in. And again, crucial because it allows you to identify documents that are making those 5-year housing land supply arguments, and very quickly go straight to the specific document that's making it and have a read. So in this case, this planning application has a 5-year housing land supply paper attached to it. So they've made a specific argument. And if I click that link, I can pull it up and you can see where they've attached a whole argument over 5-year housing land supply. This is in the case of Warwick. And they're making a whole argument. So hugely useful. And it cuts down a huge amount of work and effort. One of the other things I'll say is, separate from 5,000 land supply, one of the use cases that we talked to a user specifically about was about identifying police stations. So they were someone who looked for office to resi conversions, but wanted them to be police stations. For whatever reason, that's what they specialized in.
Yeah.
And we always find this with Landstack is we talk to a lot of users and they just have the most niche,
yes.
or what we think has the most niche things, but actually quite
Everyone's
useful.
got their own kind of specifics they want to search against. Yeah.
And so you can hop into Landstack and you can go into the use class filters, office to resi, and then you can put the keyword in police station and it will pull through all the planning applications to do with office to resi on police stations.
Another one I had the other day, which was really interesting, was battery storage developer looking at refused battery applications, battery storage applications, and the keyword he wanted to use was fire or fire safety.
Yes.
Being a key reason of why maybe that was refused. Now, again, niche, but this is something that, I mean, if you talk to us maybe 2 years ago, a year ago, we thought, gosh, I would never have said this would be in the realm of what we could do. But now it's giving you so much more insight, which is coming from data that's really historically been hidden in PDFs that just take ages to sift through. Now you just do, and it's the speed at which that's now doing the search across 100,000 applications almost in a second is crazy. So I think it's kind of taken us on another level. You know, yes, you've got your data layers that you can load in, but now you can start to get even more information, even more data on these sites. So really exciting. And I guess worth saying is not going to stop at this level.
No, exactly.
There's lots planned with where we want to go
so
with this.
Hopefully within a month or so after this, we're looking at pulling in lots more appeal data.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at adding in case officer information on appeals and also the inspector on appeals. And we're also going to look at classifying a lot of documents more and pulling a lot of information out of documents. So there's a huge amount more to do and more that we will probably be talking about this.
Yeah, and I think it would be helpful to hear everyone who uses Landstack. It'd be great to get your feedback on what you'd like to see. Like, stick it in the comments section. We get feedback consistently, but we probably don't get enough of it in terms of what actually people would like to see next. And even with current features we've got on, improvements and stuff like that. So yeah, let us know if there's anything key to what you're doing that you'd like to see on the system, data or features.
So, Will, do you think, given a picture of a piece of land, that you could guess the price of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so do I. So this is Guess the Price. Okay, we're starting off with a horrendous one.
Cookbury.
Now, I don't like this for a number of reasons. One, I've seen in the bottom right, I think that if we went on Landstack, this would be one of those where it's divided. Title? Yeah. Which to me means that I would value it at £0.
I've done that. Yeah.
Shall we have a quick look? So we're in Cookbury, Devon.
Obviously, it looks like it's middle of nowhere. So from a development potential, obviously I can only see that top right square. But from a development potential, I'm thinking none.
Agreed.
For now.
Yeah.
Clearly, someone thought it had development potential because they split it up into about 100 different plots.
The one thing I like is it looks a little bit brownfieldy, just in terms of land use. I don't know what this is. And we might reveal it a little bit on Landstack potentially, but that looks interesting to me. But
it could be something like a scheduled monument or...
Well, I was going to say hopefully more positive, which is like it might be on the edge of a town and a bit weird. But I think I'm trying to be devil's advocate because I agree with you. I think it's going to be pretty ropey. But should we pop it on Landstack? Have a look?
Yeah, let's have a look.
It might take a second to find. Hold on. Cookbury we're going to.
Cookbury and Devon. Devon in terms of prices as well. Depends where. I don't know where Cookbury is. But not the highest values, I want to say.
Okay. Cool. Might take a second to find this.
Stumbled at the first hurdle.
Yeah. Is it there? Oh, that's it. I found it. I found it because of the title issues.
It is split. Yeah. So I mean, I did a video on this, and I basically said avoid these at all costs.
Yeah.
That is also in the middle of nowhere, which is bizarre.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just gonna.
What are you?
I'm just asking the chatbot what the land's used for,
just
because I want it to get an idea for like land use.
So how would our chatbot do this? Just
chatbot basically, we give it all the information around a site.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what I expected. It's basically saying mostly agriculture, which maps, unused natural landscape, which is it's the Ordnance Survey land use. So
is unused natural like brownfields?
Basically like a catch-all for scrubby land.
Okay.
Unused natural, and then non-built up land, minor, residual. So it's basically just scraps.
Let's have a quick look at constraints.
Yeah. Let's check constraints on.
I had a feeling that
flood zone.
And the parcel we're looking at is in the flood zone.
Yes.
Ish.
Oh, good point.
As well.
Hang on. Yeah, we are like eastern section.
50p? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, no. Okay, now, you got to put what we actually think. Now it's on Rightmove, right? So, do you know what I mean? Yes, we wouldn't pay tuppence halfpenny for it.
Yeah.
Right, but what's the...
$5,000.
Oh, I see, I think it's...
More? You think more than that?
Well, okay, let's think like, what's the whole size of the plot?
But
it's going to be percentage of whole size of the plot in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But the plot is in the middle of nowhere, so it's not development.
No,
it's
I
know it's been parcelled up like that.
Yeah, fair.
But in no world is that
okay.
That.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm going to go high though.
You're going high.
Yeah. Well, high for what I think, because I think it's worth nothing, but I think it'll be more than I think it's worth.
Just because it's on.
Because some blokes
someone's
having a go. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is everything I hate.
Yeah, I know
about land when some people do this. But I would say 50p, but I'll go $5,000.
Okay. The only thing I'm just having the last rogue thing, B&G or something. Is there a chance that we...
Well, split up for B&G.
Well, no, put the split to the side. It might have some value for B&G or something
right,
like that.
Yeah. It's still small.
I'm going 150.
Cool. I've said
$5,000.
Yeah.
$5,000.
50p.
Okay. All right, we'll see. Oh, 29. No.
Avoid that at all costs.
Oh, I agree. I went high because I thought some nutters put it on.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. 29. I mean, look, we knew it wasn't going to be worth much, didn't we? If someone buys that, I have a bridge to sell you. Yeah, cool. I'm happy to be completely wrong on that, just because. Anyway, right. Next one: Cricket's Hill, Weybridge, Surrey.
Okay. We are in a good area.
What am I seeing here?
Yeah, I was about to say that. Golf course.
It's got planning, hasn't it, or something?
Edge of a golf course. Looks like it's being built on / soil's being moved. Yeah. So stuff's happening on it.
There's like hard standing here, isn't there?
Yeah. Surrey, great location.
It's going to be expensive.
Hard. Yeah. That's what I'd say. So that's our indication. Let's try and find this on
KT130NJ
on Landstack.
Right, we found it. Looking at it now, you're looking at variation 2-story house. God, they went for planning, got refused a lot. Then got planning.
For what?
Detached 2-story house with basement and detached 2-story pool house with basement following demolition of existing housing and outbuildings.
Okay.
So it's an expensive house.
Yeah. It's not a house currently though.
No.
It's scrubland.
It's scrubland with planning.
What a mission.
Right. We're there. We know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
So it's a plot.
In Surrey.
Yeah.
For a big old mansion house with a pool house.
Yeah. And if I pull up 2.5 acres.
Yeah.
Comps.
Yeah, this will tell us the price.
It tells us a price. Okay, I'm just going to go off the site quickly.
Yeah.
Local comps.
Yeah. Turn your planning off just so we can.
Local comps, you're looking, if you're in the golf course.
Yeah.
I mean, God, it's all over the shop. You're looking 5, 6 mil, 2 mil.
But it's
4
land.
mil.
So the end value will be, let's say, 5, 6 mil.
12.6 for a bigger house? Jesus.
How much land?
Small. That's tiny, look.
Might be a better area, but actually
it's just
similar.
It'll be that type of house.
So I think we'll work backwards from what we think.
But it's planning, isn't it? It's planning. How much is planning?
It's land value, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's what it's worth to buy.
Yeah.
With no planning.
Well, no, it's got planning.
It has planning.
Yeah, it's got a granted application.
Okay.
So I know what you're saying. With no planning, it's going to be X. With planning,
yeah.
But the cost of building £1 million house.
We could use the chatbot to do a residual.
Yeah, no, we won't do that. We won't use AI to help us.
No.
Gosh.
How much do you think the house would be worth built?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is it's going to be all over the shop because it could be anywhere between 4 and 12 million. Yeah, that's like a big thing to aim at. I think it is like, let's look at location on the golf course.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably prime location in terms of like, you
especially
can
for the way you hit it as well.
Yeah, I'll be playing into my garden off the tee. Okay. I mean, look, I'm in the hundreds of thousands of pounds.
What?
I don't know
I'm
if
more than that.
You think millions?
I am.
I'm just trying to think, with planning, would you pay £millions for a plot?
Yes.
To then spend a couple million building a house?
Yes.
Fair.
Definitely.
1 point something then?
Yeah, I would go 2.
Hold on, £1 an acre. You are right though, aren't you?
2 or 3.
You are right,
Then you got to build a house, then you sell it. You want to make some money on this 20%.
Well, we kind of, okay, I think you're probably right. 2.5 acres, I think you're probably thinking around
£1 million
that
an
way.
acre?
Yeah, if you're using that metric, then you're at 2.5.
2.5, yeah.
So then I'm going to go...
Maybe a bit under that.
I'm going to go... Well, just because it could be that you're thinking multi, I'm going 2.8.
Yeah, a bit more.
Yeah, just because I think maybe like they're also thinking some...
I think it'll be up there, definitely up there.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll go 2.5, you go nearer to 3.
Okay,
and then
fine.
we'll see where we're at. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Unless the house is built, like, is the house
So it
built?
could mean the house is built, because it looks like it's...
9.5 million, just for people
being
who aren't listening on...
Yeah, 9.5 mil. Yeah, I think, the house will be built for that price. You can also see that they have actually started developing it from that picture. It's just Google hasn't caught up.
What do you think? Yeah, because I know what you're saying. Like, it looks like it's being built. Well, that's a pool, I reckon.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. I mean,
So we would have been right if we would taken between 5 and 14 if we thought the house was built.
Well, I think
but land value, I think it's a really important point for people in terms of how to calculate land value and how land values are calculated. And just to stress why we came with that figure.
Yeah.
Rather than not looking like Wally's, we were basing it on land rather than house.
Funnily, like you can see, there used to be what looks like...
It looks
done something.
Looks a bit brownfieldy, doesn't it?
There's a little house there. Yeah, they've had something. Looks like an old tennis court, maybe.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah, okay.
So a bit off.
Bit off.
But we have our reasons for being off.
We do, yeah. Is there another one? Tulk Road, Newcastle. Bloody hell.
Telephone exchange. He's really thrown a curveball at us.
These are insane. Right, okay. All right. Initial idea is, again, I have no clue. I don't like it because it looks like you're on a main road, like a dual carriageway. Or
Great
something.
rent from a telephone exchange, though.
Yeah.
So it's an investment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, tough one.
That is tough.
One to
I'd
to
say
go off.
tough because I'm also looking. You can't get onto the road. It looks like you've got a ransom strip on ownership. Because I think if you're looking, this is the OS.
We're not looking at this for development.
What are you looking at?
We're looking at this as an investment, genuinely to be used as a telephone exchange.
What, really?
So that you are, that's you can rent out the use of that to the telecoms.
Oh, really?
So you can, That's
Right.
what I would say. That's what I would say.
I feel like if you look at it, it's not being used for that currently.
No, okay, so maybe it's...
It's got to be old. I think this is going to be Tuppence Halfpenny again, but...
Okay. Well, let's see where it is first.
Yeah, okay, where the hell are we? We are Tulk Road, Newcastle. We might be half hour finding this one again.
It'd be interesting to use the new leasehold update we've done as well to see if there's any leases over that. We can maybe understand if it's leased or freehold.
We're along the road, straight to it. Look at that. Professional job. Yeah, that's got to be it here, hasn't it?
Yeah, nice. Freehold?
That is freehold.
Leased. Doesn't say to who.
High car telephone exchange. So it is leased currently.
Yeah.
Well, do we know if this is this is freehold, I assume?
Yeah.
Sale.
I would say freehold sale because it's on Rightmove.
God.
I'm back in my original thought.
Yeah, that's fair. I have absolutely nothing to go on this. I really have nothing.
Look, from a development perspective, if you zoom out a little bit, it's a while until that actually has any potential.
No, agreed.
Be interesting to see Schlars and all of that as well, if we can have a quick look. Because where are we? Newcastle.
But what are you thinking development potential? It's a gap.
That whole, along that whole area
is
what I'm thinking. It will get there.
Yeah. But and you're saying that you'll get put into a sort of group of landowners because you own that bit of property. Yeah.
But also, it's probably being used to telecom, so it won't change from what it is. Oh. Yeah, interesting.
It is not allocated.
It's outside the allocation.
It's been chopped out the allocation.
So that tells you, again, not development then. It is being used as telecoms.
Is that what you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people who do telecoms on Landstack Lite.
Right.
A lot of them use it.
Okay.
For identifying this sort of thing and looking around. And
Okay.
But that's really fascinating. Again, having those layers is really important because it tells you, my first inkling was development would go along that road, and it looks like they are doing that.
Wow. Okay, just take a step. Employment land, this is allocated for?
Okay.
Does that, I mean, the only thing I'm thinking, telecoms exchange means fibre.
Yeah.
Right, is basically what we're talking about now. And you're probably more talking about like internet than you are phone line.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And so if you're looking employment land, what are they putting here? They're allocating it for employment land. They haven't necessarily said what the employment land is, but this is just crucial to me. Okay, if there'll probably be like a fibre line or something going in, or at least a line, not a fibre line, but a line. Point. You might be able to get more easy access into it, that sort of thing. It's got some value there. I have absolutely no concept over how much you would charge, and I have no concept over that. But like, there's obviously some potential there. Yeah,
right. Let's think about price then. This is tough. This isn't our ballpark of what we price it as. But I guess if you would see a telecom exchange up for sale, round an allocation, you're going to get rent for it. So I don't know how much rent you would get. People can tell us in the comments if they know this sort of thing. That would be great. I would go into like 50 grand.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know why. I just
no. I think I'm similar ballpark to you. Like, I think that does make sense.
What are you going for?
I mean, I'm trying to think if I go higher or lower than you. Freehold cost, I'll go 30.
Okay.
Should we see?
Let's put me out of my misery.
15.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're sort of right. I mean, definitely double, but
better ballpark than we have been before. But
agreed.
Interesting. It'd be really interesting to know. Well, if anyone knows anything about that plot, that'd be
great.
Be great to know.
Yeah. I've got one more. I'm going to say Llanw because it's Welsh.
Yes,
but I could be saying that completely wrong. Could be Nanau. Estate in Dolgellau, Wales. We've just got an out code LL40. No, nothing else.
Because they own most of the postcode.
Absolutely massive.
So we're gonna get my head into valuation of an estate again.
Yeah,
not super in my wheelhouse, I have to say. Lovely pictures though.
Yeah, it does look stunning. That is the Nanau and Dolred estates.
Brilliant. So found it.
Yeah, it's just probably that, which is absolutely massive.
How many acres? How many acres is that saying?
I mean, we don't. I mean, this is.
What are we saying?
This is saying 1,362 acres. But sorry, it's bigger than that because this is also part.
So they do own most of the postcode.
Yeah, you're buying a postcode.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so not that. All of that. It's chunky.
Is it leased? It'd be interesting to know if they've leased bits out.
They've got some small leases. That's services.
Okay.
And just a house.
In a house, yeah. How are we going about valuing this then?
God. Just pure pound per acre, surely. Like agricultural, that land. You're not development. Let's look. You haven't got development potential there. I reckon if I put my terrain on, you are in a world of hurt. It is steep as anything. So
you're buying it for class.
You're buying it exactly.
Anything else.
So there's an element of cost there, but
if we go, so the way I think maybe we should do it is obviously near us, Down Ampney estate.
Yeah.
Was up for sale.
Yeah.
40 million.
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind that there was some development potential of that.
Yeah.
Little bits. It was also mines and minerals.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's mining operations going on. So I'm not thinking it's going to be that high. It's also in Wales, obviously rural.
Let's have a look. You are in a natural landscape.
Yeah. I mean,
you're in a national park. I mean, come on. I don't think you've got too much development potential there.
No, but I don't think that's what you'd look at this for. I think it's...
Or even I just think if you're in a landscape like that,
do
or
like
BMX
park, or mountain biking routes and stuff like that.
No, agreed. But you're not going to get mines and minerals or anything either there.
No.
So I don't think you're talking substantial. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's going to be substantial, but not as substantial as... What are we thinking, 10 million?
How big were we? 1,000 acres?
Probably
more.
20?
Pull my calculator out. 1,200.
Even at agricultural value.
I just put a low ball, 50 grand, 60 grand an acre. You're at like 60 million.
Right. Yeah.
God, I mean, I think actually, I probably do think you're gonna, with something like this, my intuition is the land value will kind of, the bigger you get, you're not going to have a per acre figure all the way. Do you know what I mean? I think it will kind of taper off. I'd go 40 million.
40.
Yeah. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I'm going to go 30 because I kind of said that. But yeah,
okay.
This will be interesting.
Have a look. 15. Yeah. That was a super tough one.
Maybe we didn't like if we got all of the acreage, some of the, but yeah, that is tough. But it's good to know. I think it's always interesting with the estates. You kind of got to go off.
You know, you would probably say the problem is it's like it's middle of Wales, isn't it? So. Okay, so we've got some questions now from social media. We had some good questions on a lot of our content, actually, across all the different spectrum. Some on the podcast, some on some of the shorts we put out. And we pulled the most interesting ones that we kind of wanted to put towards the end of the podcast. So the first is very Landstack based. Where does Landstack pull their boundary data from? And this is mostly just because I think they want to sense check some of the data.
Yeah. We get. I mean, look, on demos that we do, we get this a lot of the time, you know, updates as well. But in terms of boundary data, obviously varies depending on the data that you're talking about. So if we just give a flavour of a few, planning applications is obviously from the planning portals, and we're pulling that data from the location plan or the interactive map if they have those. But obviously, percentage-wise, it's probably
it's brutal.
60%, maybe
but
half.
It also, it varies, you know, and sometimes the interactive map's wrong.
Yeah.
And so we have checks against that as well. So,
and then you've got allocations, land availabilities, obviously directly from the local plan document. A lot of that is PDFs. So I think it comes down to we are putting a hell of a lot of work, and we have our own internal data team whose job is to keep all of this data up to date. And I think that's the real USP for us in the market, which is we are doing all of this data ourselves. We're digitizing ourselves as well. So we're not reliant on a outsourcing or a third party who do it wrong or, you know, we can't sense check it. We can sense check everything. So I think that's just a really important point for all of our data is we are digitizing ourselves. Obviously, if we're talking about constraints, flood zones, those sorts of things, direct from source. So that is from Environment Agency for the flood zone. Obviously, Greenbelt map is the government map. So there are some of those that are directly from the websites that we're pulling them from. But a lot of the planning stuff is stuff that we do ourselves.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Next question. This was a comment on one of our recent videos, nonsense plots. How many bits of land are stuck in trusts?
Yeah, and the answer to this, I had to look up some information actually because my initial answer was I have no idea. And when I looked it up, the answer was people have no idea. And the reason I say that is that there is actually probably a way that you could get to a lot of this information. The Land Reg would probably be able to publish some of this in that they'd at least be able to say whether it's privately owned and sort of some of the specific things in deeds and so on and so forth on the land. But trusts are separate to that and not always in the land registry. And so that's where you have a little bit of an issue is that there's also a lot of unregistered land in the UK. And a lot of that could potentially be in trusts. So the quick answer is it's not a really good idea. And there's a lot that the Land Reg and the government, there's been a lot of policy and changes going through Parliament about trying to sort of add transparency to the land market. One of the big ones going through, and I think that the Land Reg have kind of committed to, is to publish a data set on option agreements.
That'd be massive.
Which would be huge. And we're really excited to looking forward to that.
The way the land market works, surely.
I think it would mean people have to, one of the biggest complaints users get is they have to spend so much money on buying titles. £7 a pop, or any time you want to check whether a piece of land is optioned or not. When in reality, that's such a huge waste of time, especially if you're searching as well, is you're wasting a lot of time trying to figure out if a piece of land's optioned or not.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting because it leads into the next question, which is also about our land market layer. But actually, we got a question through Instagram, which was, you know, the guy's trying to get interest in his site that he's selling, got planning or about to get planning, and he wants to, you know, get interest in the site. Obviously, we have a land market layer, and I just do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yes, so it's great because it's both available on our website and our phone app as well.
Yeah.
So we have a land market layer, which essentially allows anyone to get in touch with us and advertise a piece of land through Landstack. And so big, small, doesn't really matter. You can put it on there. BNG, exactly. Use case doesn't matter. The reason we want to do that is because it is quite an opaque market, especially down the bottom end. We find we add a huge amount of value when someone wants to sort of shout about their site, and you don't necessarily know the right person to get in touch with. Yeah. Landstack has a huge user base of users, all of which are basically looking at land in one way or another. Yeah. So adding something to the land market can be incredibly useful.
Brilliant.
What's the cheapest you can get an acre of land in the UK? This was from our nonsense plots video that we did on TikTok, I think.
So I would say, without stating the obvious maybe, but Scotland, obviously there'll be rural areas of Scotland where you'll probably get, in the middle of nowhere.
We just did a video on a nonsense plot where there was like a small piece of land as part of a load of other pieces of land chopped up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You could get a really cheap piece of land there.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'd say like Wales, rural areas of Wales.
Yeah.
Probably Cumbria, those areas, like, your stereotypical areas where you're probably thinking land's going to be slightly cheaper. And then I would say southern, obviously, stays pretty high, pretty consistent.
Yeah. Fundamentally, the further you are away from civilization,
the cheaper the
generally the cheaper the land. Is a rule of thumb, unless you have some really specific reasons why it might not be. Minerals, oil, those sorts of things.
And that would be BNG, I guess that helps.
Yeah, so there'll be a bit like that, but that's a general good rule of thumb, I think.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to maybe end a little bit here with we've got a lot of interest in, at the minute I've been doing on LinkedIn, some kind of data releases of, the two I've done recently are kind of a list of all planning applications in the last 90 days that have got planning or gone in for planning, and that was 10 and above. And then I did another one, which is all of the data center applications that have been put in the UK in the last year. And essentially it's a list of all these applications, getting a huge amount of interest. And I think this is a great kind of forum to kind of talk about it and say, look, these are all things that I'm doing in about 5 minutes using Landstack.
Yeah.
And through our report system, you can actually create alerts on these types of sites. So if you did want to alert on every time a data center application came in, you could do that. It's interactive. You can see the boundary for it, not just a spreadsheet. So yeah, I think it's one of those things I wanted to talk about because it's funny how much interest there is in it. And if people knew how easy it was to do, then they could do it themselves through Landstack. Yeah, so
agreed.
It was one of those I just wanted to hop in there as an additional
100%. And there's a lot, like we've been saying the whole webinar, there's a lot more we're doing on the planning application side of things.
Exactly.
There's a lot more to come there. That's been episode 3 of From the Ground Up. A pretty detailed one, actually. We've got through a lot in this episode. If there's anything that any of our listeners or watchers would like us to talk about, feel free to pop it in the comments. We've got a lot that we're going to talk about, anything to do with land and development, really. Keep an eye on Landstack. Go to landstack.co.uk and sign up for Landstack Lite for free. Really great way to start if you want to get into land or understand anything about land. Ask for a trial for Landstack Pro if you want to take things a little bit more seriously. And there's information on landstack.co.uk for that. And it's been a pleasure. Thanks, Will.
Thank you, Joss.
Speak to everyone soon.
See you next month.